All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Going to be breaking down the top prop bets here for this Thursday night slate. We got a 2-game slate. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, as always, I do like to start off with a quick game preview, guys. We got 2 games here, the Steelers versus the Panthers, which is going to be kind of a lower scoring game. 34.5 is going to be the game total. I think that's mostly rooted in basically all the backups are playing in this game for both teams, as you would expect, but the backup quarterback play has really not been all too well for both teams, more specifically the Carolina Panthers, and that's why you're going to see that they are 5.5-point dogs in this game. And really, in regards to the spread, I do think it kind of depends on if Bryce Perkins plays or not, and really how well Bryce Perkins ends up playing. Now, my issue is that part of the problems that Jack Plummer was having is not really on Jack Plummer. It's just receivers not getting open. They don't seem that deep at that position. The Carolina Panthers do not. Even running back wise, their backups just do not seem all that talented. Whereas you look at the Steelers, the defense is pretty solid. Overall, I thought they flew around to the football very well. And so I probably would agree that the Steelers are going to win this matchup. 5.5 points is a lot in the preseason. I don't know if I would get there. And then that being said, we look at this second game, guys. We have the Patriots versus the Giants. Giants are 6.5-point favorites in this game. Talk about a defense flying around. Their defense was truly flying around in the last game. I thought it was very impressive. 6.5 points is a lot, though. It really is. I assume they're giving us this line because they're expecting Jackson Dart to play a lot in this game, as you kind of would expect. And on the flip side, backup quarterback Joshua Dobbs for the Patriots might not play that much, which would lead to a rookie quarterback who's looked okay, getting a little bit more playing time. I would assume that's why we're getting those big prop line differences, but also the Patriots are extremely thin in a lot of spots, which I think is going to create us some good edges for the slate. Game total I do think is correct, though. So let's jump more into the first game, Steelers versus the Panthers. And so just starting with the Steelers, we are going to notice we are getting a lot of prop bets for them specifically. We're going to notice that they are kind of calling out Skylar Thompson a little bit more than Mason Rudolph, obviously, which has basically been what they have done thus far through 2 preseason games. It's been a little bit of Rudolph, and then Skylar Thompson just gets a bulk of the work. I think we can expect that to occur again. And I will say, really, the only big prop line difference that we are getting in this game for the Steelers, at least, is going to be with running back Caleb Johnson, who got a lot of work in the last game there for the Steelers. I didn't think he looked bad. I didn't think he looked good. It does seem like they're trying to just get him reps in this game. So if we're looking at the optimizer right now, the prize picks optimizer, prize picks is a little bit lower than underdog at 29.5. I would probably agree that the line that underdog has is the correct line. Now, whether or not he gets there, we'll see. But I do think that the workload does make sense to be there for him. Now, that being said, I do want to call it a player like Lou Nichols actually looked pretty good for the Steelers over the past 2 weeks. Has popped a couple of big plays. And then Evan Hall as well looked pretty solid overall as well. So Caleb Johnson, we know, is kind of expected to take over eventually throughout the season as maybe the starting running back, at least a offensive contributor for sure. The issue with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, a veteran quarterback like that, is he needs to be able to trust the people that are blocking for him or running routes and all that stuff. And I think that's what we're trying, that's what Caleb Johnson is trying to do right now, is kind of prove that aspect of his game. And so it does make sense for him to get some work. I'm a little bit worried that the playing time might not be there for him, though. Now, I will say I don't think we're really getting many edges, if at all, for the Steelers. Well, that's not exactly true. I should call Romaine Wilson here and his prop line difference that we're getting between the two sites. So PrizePicks has him at 20.5, whereas Underdog has him at 24.5. So a decent prop line difference. Definitely should call that out to you guys. And I do think it's worth calling out the playing time that he had, guys. 21 snaps in that game. That's really not a lot. So that's kind of why I'm hesitant to get there with him. I do think that's going to be basically the same amount of snaps that he ends up playing. Brennan Johnson would probably be the player I'd want to bet on the most there. But what we're going to notice is we're not going to get any prop bets for someone like Brennan Johnson as well. So if you guys want to get to Wilson, you can. I don't hate it. A little bit of a milling opportunity there as well. So not terrible. They do want to get him some reps. So I do think he's going to get about 20 snaps. But I can't clearly say that he's going to get a lot of snaps. And that's basically what we're trying to chase here in the preseason. So yeah, let's jump now into the Carolina Panthers. Okay, so David Moore, someone that is a good player in terms of being a backup player. I don't hate that. Bryson Tremaine is someone that should get a decent amount of snaps in this game. He got a lot of targets from Jack Plummer in the last game. So it's just whether or not Jack Plummer ends up playing that much again. If we can trust Bryson to continue to get those looks. James Mitch is the tight end. We're not betting on him. Hunter Renfrow, it's just really not enough snaps for us to truly trust any of those players that much. The one player that I'm kind of interested in, just because talent-wise, I thought we saw Trevor Etienne actually look pretty good, and they gave a good effort to get him some work as well. Now, if we look at the stats here, 7 rush attempts for 18 yards. Obviously, that's not good, but it ended up being much better watching it than obviously what the stats would tell us. So if we knew for sure he's going to get 7 rush attempts again while getting 17 snaps again, which is what he got last week, I'd be pretty encouraged by that, and I think that is what we can kind of expect here. It is a little bit tighter, though. So it's not like exactly a bet that we need to go out of our way to target, and we are seeing a slight prop line difference, but not enough to like really go in just because of that. And so with that, let's go ahead and jump on into the late night game. We'll start with the Patriots here. The biggest question with the Patriots is how much will Joshua Dobbs play? Because I do think that really does impact the players that we would want to be on for the Patriots as well, especially in terms of the pass catchers, because they're going to be pretty thin tonight. The Patriots are at the receiver position. Okay, pulling it up here for you guys, like Diggs is going to be out. We know that. Kyle Williams is going to be out. We're not expecting Demario Douglas. We're really not expecting Keyshawn Boutte or Matt Collins. Those players are all kind of locked into the roster spot. Yeah, we might see Boutte and Hollins a little bit, but really not that much. Chisholm is out. We know that. Polk is out. We know that. Kendrick Bourne is out. We know that. We're still waiting on word on whether or not Javon Baker will play. That leaves Giles and Webb as a player that are both going to get a lot of playing time. Now, they did add another receiver because they basically had to, but those two players are going to be the two that we want to concentrate on the most. And with Giles, guys, this was a bet that I had already called out yesterday during the DFS preview because I thought it'd be an edge that would end up getting bumped, and it did. I think it was at 23.5, whereas PrizePicks has his line set at 27.5. He played a lot in the last game as well, but again, he should basically play the full game. Ended up with 5 targets last week, 4 receptions, 24 yards. I wouldn't say he looked good. Like he's a practice squad player, so I typically like to bet on like good players that are going to get some playing time. He's not that. He's not like Chisholm by any means, but playing a lot. If we're liking Dobbs to play, if Dobbs is going to get 109 passing yards, he's going to be part of the reason as to why. So really not a bad prop bet there. I think we can still get there at 25.5. But really, probably my favorite prop bet is going to be Jeremiah Webb to get over his yards of 18 here, guys. So 3 targets in the last game, 1 reception, 8 yards. So did not get the over there. Did get the over in the first game. He's just a smooth player. I think if they're going to replace kind of the production from Chisholm that they've had in the preseason, it's going to be through Webb, who can kind of operate the same as well. And I'm overall just really shocked that we're even getting that big of a difference between the two, between Giles and Webb. Like they should basically be the same, okay? Because they're both should be in line for just a ton of playing time in this game as well. And then I do think it's worthwhile to call it the prop line difference that we are getting for Joshua Dobbs as well between the two sites. So if we are betting, let's just say on Giles and also on Webb, on underdog, I think that's a good route to go. A sneaky way of executing a stack there would be to just bet on his over of 99.5 on PrizePicks, hoping that he plays a half of football. Again, maybe he doesn't. Typically speaking, the last preseason game is for like practice squad equivalent players. Dobbs is the backup there, but at the same time, maybe they want to get a good look at some players. Thus, you're going to play Dobbs a little bit more than their third string quarterback. And we'll jump on into the Giants here, guys. Jackson Dart has seen his lines kind of rise a decent amount. I don't know if we necessarily need to touch on him that much. He should play a lot. It makes sense for him to play a lot. Will he end up playing the full game? We don't know. Like I think it makes sense for him to play the full game. You got enough backups there. You got Winston still there if you need him. Obviously, Russell Wilson's there. It makes sense for him to just get a bulk of the work. And I would argue I would still want to bet on his overs here, even though this line has come up a little bit. Because it just makes sense for him to play most of the game. Might as well get your rookie some reps while you can, because he's going to be on the bench for a while. Another player I just want to call out, Bo Collins connected on a long pass play from Russ Wilson, guys. 1 reception, 80 yards. Almost scored a touchdown on that play. Fell down at the 1 yard line. Ended up starting in that game as well. So just something to monitor there. I thought that was interesting. But really, to me, one of the better bets that we are getting in this game is going to be with Shane Watts to get over his rushing yard line of 22.5. We are seeing a slight prop line difference there between PrizePicks and underdog. But I also want to call it hasty before we jump into this a little bit more. So we are seeing a slight prop line difference for him as well, off by 2 yards between the two sites. And the thing is, they are pretty thin at the running back position as well in this game. So we're not expecting Stevenson, Henderson, or even Gibson to play. Terrell Jennings is actually listed as out. Larson, Prince is already gone. So Watts is someone that they had recently signed. They had to sign him. Didn't play all that much, but you would expect him to get an extended look here as well because JaMycal Hasty is talented enough. I just don't expect him to get more work or vastly more work. He is more talented than Watts, so I think that's where we're seeing the big yards difference. But in terms of snaps, in terms of carries, I think it makes sense for Watts to get a lot of that work. Now, the issue would become that the Giants are, favorites in this game, and so Hasty is more likely to get carries early on in the game, whereas Watts maybe not as likely. This could end up being a Dante Miller situation where Watts just gets us the over in terms of rush and receiving yards, but not rush yards. So slight worry there, but I'm okay betting on the playing time and betting on the rush attempts. And yeah, guys, in the last game, 10 carries for him. We do know that is what Mike Vrabel wants to do. He wants to rush the football in the preseason. He did that a bunch in Tennessee. He's doing that still with the Patriots. And then, let's talk about JaMycal Hasty as well, guys. Had 11 rush attempts in that game, 47 yards. Looked really good. Okay, he did. They kind of know what they have in him, though, so that's why I'm a little bit worried about just how much he's going to play, but it does make sense for him to also get some double-digit carries in this game as well. I wouldn't mind betting on his over, but I'm not going out of my way to target it because it's mostly correct there. Now, let's talk about the running backs for the Giants then. So Cam Scatabo is going to be back in this game, it seems. I believe his dad posted something on Instagram saying that it's game day, so kind of expecting him to play. And it is one of those situations where if he is healthy enough to play, because he hasn't played a game yet, he's been banged up. If he's healthy enough to play, I kind of expect him to play a full allotment of snaps. I don't see why they would kind of limit his workload. If you're healthy enough to play in a preseason game like this, just play the full allotment. So that's my expectation. And with that, then I would say that his yards are probably too low at 25.5. Like that to me does seem to be pretty low. And as a result, I don't think we're going to see that much of Dante Miller in this game, who's been kind of a workhorse running back for us throughout the preseason, more for DFS purposes, been dominant in the receiving game, guys. 4 receptions, 7 receptions, 120 yards, 123 yards receiving. And so, I kind of expect that to be more the Cam Scatabo show tonight. And so I wouldn't mind getting in on that action for him a little bit. Now, in terms of the receivers for the Giants, I mentioned Bo Collins. Don't need to get to him. I don't think we need to bet on him. Montreal Washington, don't exactly know what playing time he's going to get, so I'm kind of just passing up on that. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into the bets of the day. But first, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well, so you're not missing out on any of the other preseason coverage, as well as the regular season for the NFL. If you guys would like access to the 9to5 Prize Picks Optimizer, or any of the NFL DFS tools, fantasy golf tools, or just prop betting tools in general, head on over to 9to5sports.com. Get access to all those tools for a low monthly cost of $10 a month. Take advantage of that, guys. Great deal. So, guys, if I have to give a bet of the day here, okay, which obviously I'm going to do, it's 3-3. But if I'm going to give you guys a full slip, I'll go ahead and attach either Cam Scatabo or Trevor Etienne for over their rush yards as well. I would probably also be fine betting on Jackson Dart to get over his passing yards as well. Again, I think he's just going to play a lot. You guys can choose between those three, but these are the three I'm most confident in terms of playing time. And if I'm right about that, then they should be able to get their overs. And then with that as well, for Prize Picks, Joshua Dobbs for over his passing yards, kind of a unique way to stack, again, Giles and Webb. And so to give you guys a specific bet slip there, Joshua Dobbs over 99.5 passing yards, and then Skylar Thompson as well. Decent line difference there as well. Again, you could attach Wilson to that as well. That's kind of a correlated stack you could run out. But that's going to do it for this video. Again, leave a like, subscribe to the channel as well. If you guys want access to any of the tools, head on over to 9to5sports.com. Get access to those for a low monthly cost of $10 a month. Thanks for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.